and harassed people. It was worth making, following, and implementing anti-harassment policies. It made our writing and editing better. Our community is freer.
At this point, the feud still localized within the wiki, but on June 17, 2018, a YouTuber named Mr. Meadowcure would drop a video titled RGB SCP, criticizing the SCP wiki for neglecting its 4chan roots and claiming it was desperately trying to be politically correct. He also brings up the issue with SCP-7143J, a satire SCP about a doorknob people wanted to use as an adult toy. This article is a well-known joke within the community, with a positive 229 rating, which means that most people actually thought it was funny. But Mr. Meadowcure's video highlights the very few who dislike the humor, using that to further the argument that the entire wiki hates fun.
You can see these people starting to filter in, to infiltrate, to really throw out the absurdity of not finding things funny or taking offense at an obvious joke.
Another point Meadowcure brings up is the case of SCP-2721, a controversial article that divided the community because it featured Tumblr and the webcomics Homestuck as main parts of the SCP. This made Meadowcure really angry, as he couldn't accept the fact that a trans satellite who likes Homestuck could get 155 upvotes.
How dare you make a joke on this article about a death satellite wanting to be a trans woman that watches a... Dude, how dare you make a joke? Don't you understand the importance of this?
And this exact video would end up triggering a massive raid of 4chan users storming the SCP wiki, attacking wiki members in the on-site forum, downvoting SCPs they didn't like, and sending death threats to several authors. And with the infighting already going on within the community, many of the dissenting SCP authors would decide to leave, taking their own work with them. And just a few days later, a new community was created, called RPC, or Research Protection Community, which was supposed to be the exact copy of the SCP wiki minus the politics, as it was now headed by these former authors. However, one of the moderators of this new community was so mad that SCP-2721 was even allowed to exist in the first place that he made an image where he decapitated the author of the SCP and would proceed to send it to his actual DM, which can be considered a threat to life. But eventually things would start to calm down. The raiders left, the hate comments slowly dried out, and the wiki returned to business as usual. On June 23rd, the SCP Foundation would post a thread on Twitter saying,
During the chaotic reaction to the SCP wiki and our associated social media logo changes for Pride Month, a number of users began trolling our platforms in ways that required staff intervention. In the endeavor to remove toxicity, several of the users and staff members who run or moderate our social media platforms overstepped their authority in disciplining several accounts which weren't actually trolling and had legitimate concerns or criticisms of the change.
The thread then ends with an apology to everyone affected, along with a note telling anyone who's been unfairly banned to reach out for an appeal to their ban. But the next case is even more disturbing, since the victim was a younger person
who made allusions to a known person who had been acting creepy with Insight 12.
Ayman Lu Balatayo, also known as Sashao or Sadshao, was an SCP author who flew under the radar while he was a member of the community. Although he was an SCP staff, Sax didn't actually write much, with his most notable works being SCP-1512X, an article about 6 electromechanical devices capable of artificially creating cellular matrices resembling functional human organs, and SCP-1713, which explores a radioactive underground factory complex filled with a variety of machines, complex assembly lines, and sentient robots with human brains. But what he actually had going on behind the scenes was so horrific, the wiki had to break its own rules to cover it up. It's January 2019, and the SCP staff announces that user Sax has been permanently banned for an offsite harassment case, a vague description that doesn't tell the full story of why he was kicked off the wiki. For the next 1 year, the case goes completely silent, with no updates, no victims, and no callouts. But on January 9th, 2020, a Kiwi Farms user named VDNB6 decides to bring fresh attention to Sax's ban.
A while back,